and welcome back to another video. I hope you have been keeping so very well and you've had a beautiful week so far. Happy Sunday. Today we're going to do a meal prep Sunday. This has been very highly requested, so I'm really excited to get into it and to cook lots of delicious vegan meals today. Before we do, I want to say a big thank you to my friends at Squarespace for making today's video possible. As you know, I host and design my website using Squarespace, and I've been doing so for many years. I'm a customer of theirs and I really enjoy their platform. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that allows you to build your website, market your products, and also sell things online as well, which I have found to be super beneficial for my business. And I also really love it because it makes it really easy for me to share recipes on my website. A handful of the recipes from today's video will be on my website, so I'll leave that linked below. And if you're ever looking to host or design your own website, I genuinely highly recommend checking out Squarespace. You can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/AmandaDux and use my code AmandaDux, which gets you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Alright, so today we're going to make 2 breakfasts, 3 meals, and a couple of snacks. I'm going to start with breakfast because it just feels like it makes sense to start with breakfast, and then we will get into the rest. But yes, let's start by making some delish meal prep breakfast. So the first thing we are making today are these delicious lemon and blackberry oats, which I've been loving so much lately. And first of all, I start by making a blackberry chia jam. I just put some fresh blackberries with some water into a saucepan over the heat, just to sort of be able to like squish those down and warm them up like so. And then you'll see they get kind of nice and watery, and this is when I add in a little bit of maple syrup as well as some vanilla and some chia seeds as well. And the chia seeds make it all, I think the words coagulate and all kind of come together. It's almost like a blackberry compote in a way. Then into a mixing bowl, I put some oats as well as some lemon zest and some soy vanilla yogurt. I love this yogurt so much. I then also add in some soy milk as well as lemon juice and some maple syrup as well as some vanilla, and I mix this all together. And you want to make sure that it's nice and liquidy like so. I added in a little bit of extra milk to ensure it was like this because it's all going to get a lot thicker as you leave it to set. So I just layer this with the oat mixture and the blackberry jam, and then on top I put some extra vanilla yogurt on top of both of them, as well as some fresh blackberries because I like to have different textures when I have overnight oats. And then I just close the lids and put them in the fridge to set overnight and enjoy throughout the week when I feel like something sweet. After that, we move on to making a savory breakfast, which are these super delicious breakfast muffins. I start by adding in some chickpea flour, nutritional yeast, as well as some veggie stock powder and some silken tofu and water into my VideoMix, and I blend this all together until it becomes nice and smooth. You might have seen me make something similar to this in the past, and they're kind of like chickpea flour egg patties, but I also added in silken tofu to these just to add a little bit more of a lighter texture so that they're not as tough basically. But they're kind of like these savory high protein pancake things that I use as a replacement for an egg in these breakfast muffins. Then I also make some barbecue tofu, which has a really nice smoky flavor to it. I start by cutting up the tofu, and then into a bowl I put some olive oil, barbecue sauce, smoked paprika and soy sauce, and I mix this all together, and then I dip and coat the pieces of tofu in the mixture until they're really nice and well coated, and then transfer them into a frying pan to fry them up. Now I know a lot of people don't like mock products and stuff like that, and I actually don't as well, but I really enjoy making things with tofu and things like that that don't specifically replicate, you know, exactly like a non-vegan product, but they are super tasty and just like a fun different breakfast idea to make. So I cut open some breakfast muffins. I put some vegan mayonnaise, some fresh greens, those chickpea tofu patties, as well as the barbecue tofu and some extra barbecue sauce, and then these are my delicious breakfast muffins. I personally like wrapping these in baking paper and then putting them in the fridge because this means that I can just put them in a sandwich press rice in the morning and get them nice and hot and crispy and delicious, and it's such a quick and easy breakfast. Next, we're moving on to making some meals for the week, and I'm starting by making this peanut tofu curry, which has been a go-to for me for so long because it's so simple and it tastes so good and I just don't really get sick of it. I start by cutting up some red onion as well as removing some skin from the ginger as well as the garlic. Then into my wok I add in some olive oil as well as the red onion pieces that are quite chunky, and then I grate in the ginger and the garlic and I continue mixing this all together. I then also add in some massaman curry paste, which is my curry paste of choice. Once again, can't get enough of it. And I fry all of this up, then adding in some tomato paste and continuing to fry it before adding in some coconut milk. I also add in some veggie stock powder for a little bit of extra flavor, and I continue stirring this all together, adding in some water as well. Whilst that's all simmering away, I cut up some tofu, which I just cut into little rectangle pieces, and then I transfer this in with my curry sauce that I've been making, and I get it nice and well soaked before putting the lid on and leaving it to simmer away and get the tofu to soak up all of that delicious flavor. Then I also add in some peanut butter, which thickens this quite a bit and also adds in some more flavor. And I also add in some frozen peas, and these will defrost. They'll defrost. I also put some rice on to cook, and then I added in some spinach in with the curry right at the end, just to ensure it didn't melt to the point where it basically doesn't exist. So I served 2 of these curries in a container with rice, and then I did a separate one with no rice so that I could freeze it, or I could enjoy it later in the week, and I can just cook some fresh rice or have it with some naan bread or something like that. Next up, we're making one of my absolute go-tos at the moment, which is a pesto pasta salad. This is so easy to make, and you can also add in so much veg and so much goodness into it, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So in today's, I started by cutting up some broccoli as well as some zucchini, and then into a mixing bowl I put some olive oil, nutritional yeast, some salt and some pepper, and I mix this all together. Then I added in that broccoli and zucchini, and I also added in some chickpeas that I drained and rinsed, and I tossed this all together to coat it nice and well before transferring it into my wok and frying it all up to get it nice and crispy. I'm going to leave that frying while I also put some water on to boil, and then I've got this store-bought pesto. This one you can get from the supermarket here in Australia. It's honestly the best store-bought pesto I have ever had. It's a regular on my grocery list, and for this pasta salad I just mix it with some water to thin it out a little bit. I also put some pasta on to boil and to cook, and once those veggies and chickpeas were ready as well as the pasta, I put them into a mixing bowl with some cherry tomatoes as well as some fresh greens and that pesto that I had watered down. I'm then going to toss this all together until it is really nice and well combined before transferring it into 2 containers, and I'm going to be able to enjoy these as lunches or dinners throughout the week. So delish and so fresh. I love it so much. Next up, we are making these baked enchiladas, which I have been really enjoying lately. I start by adding in some red capsicum, oil, cumin, onion powder, garlic powder, and smoked paprika, as well as salt and pepper into a frying pan, and I'm going to fry this all up. Then I also add in some black beans, which I had drained and rinsed, and once again continued frying. You could also add in things like corn, onion, garlic, etc. I was using up a lot of what I had on hand today. I put in some passata into these containers, and then I rolled these tortillas with the mixture. To be honest, next time I would definitely add more spices and seasoning to the passata because I felt like it really needed it, but in the moment I didn't. I drizzled some oil on top and then put these in the oven to bake. Once they were all baked, I then topped with a bit of smoked paprika as well as some cashew parmesan, which I've been really enjoying, and then put the lid on and put these into the fridge to enjoy throughout the week. And I can either eat these cold or I can reheat them in the oven, which is super convenient. Moving on to snacks, and we are making my favorite protein bars at the moment. They are white chocolate and macadamia macadamia, and they are so good. Into a bowl, I put some oat flour as well as cashew butter, which I am loving cashew butter so much at the moment. I then also added in some salted caramel protein powder. I'll link my favorite protein powder down in the description box if you want to try it out. And I also added in some vanilla and maple syrup before mixing this all together until it forms this really nice dough. Once the dough was all well combined, I then rolled it out into a rectangle kind of shape. I shaped it the best that I could, and then I put this onto some baking paper, pressing on top some macadamias and then drizzling over some vegan white chocolate that I had melted down before putting this in the fridge to set for about half an hour at a minimum. Once it was done, I then cut it into little protein bars, and I had these delicious protein bars ready to go for the week. Also, to snack on for the week, I wanted something savory, so I made some of these delicious vegan spinach and ricotta pastries. I start by boiling some cashews over the heat, and I'm going to leave those to boil away and then simmer away for about half an hour whilst I cut up some brown onion, and then I am going to put a pan over the heat and heat up this brown onion as well as some garlic that I'm grating in there as well. So I'm going to be frying this up for a little while before I add in some frozen spinach as well as a little bit of water to help that frozen spinach defrost into this really nice mixture that we've got going on here. Once the cashews are all done, I put them into my VideoMix with some tofu as well as some nutritional yeast. I then also add in some onion and garlic powder, some veggie stock powder, some Dijon mustard, as well as some lemon juice or some apple cider vinegar and some water. Then I blend this all together until I get this really nice, smooth, kind of cashew cheese mixture, but you want it to be pourable like so. And I'm going to mix this together with the spinach, onion and garlic mixture until it is really nice and well combined. Then it comes time to make the pastries, and depending on the texture of your spinach and ricotta mixture can depend on what kind of shape you want to make. I started by making these kind of like traditional sausage roll shapes, but it wasn't working as well, so I ended up making these triangles, which I found were a lot better. I could add a lot more filling into them, and it just made everything kind of hold together a lot better. So I rolled all of these up and then I put them in the oven with some sesame seeds on top, and then I kept the rest of this spinach and ricotta mixture in the freezer to make some more pastries another day. Once these pastries were all done, I left them to cool before putting them into a container, and that left me very set for snacks throughout the week. Okay, so all of my meal prep is done for the week ahead. I'm feeling very good after today and really excited for all the delicious food I'm gonna get to eat. If you're interested in trying out any of these meals at home, I will leave the details of them down in the description box so that you can try them out. And if you enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate if you can let me know, because if you do enjoy these meal prep videos, I will make sure to make some more in the future. As always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I will look forward to seeing you next week with another video, and I hope you have a really beautiful day. Bye!